All right, our first item on the agenda is a public scoping session for Blaine Town Square. Application for site plan approval and special use permit for the use and construction of a mixed-use commercial, residential, recreational development situated on tax parcels, section block and lot 51-141.2. Project located on the southern side of New York State Route 94, 1,100 feet east of Warwick Turnpike, 137 State Route 94 South in the CB zone of the Town of Warwick. At the planning board meeting of 4/15/26, the planning board deemed the application type 1 action. At the planning board meeting of 4/15/26, the planning board adopted a part 2 and part 3 EAF and declaring a positive declaration. Representing the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Kirk.
Kirk, you have a copy of the comments?
Yes, I do.
Okay, before I even ask you to discuss the project, I'm just going to introduce the board to the public here. I know a lot of people are out for this project. Bob Hulick's our attorney. Max Stock is our planner from Nelson Pub Voorhees. Roger Showalter is our vice chairman. Laura Barkers from HDR Engineering, our engineer. Myself, Ben Astorino is the chairman. Connie Sardo is our secretary. Dennis McConnell, board member, and Bo Kennedy, a board member. How this is going to work this evening, we don't have any answers to questions. This is just what this is. It's a scoping session. I'm going to throw it to our planner in a minute to explain to you the seeker process and what this means, what is already in the scoping document from us and the applicant. If you have something to add, absolutely, this is what you're here for, to come up, say what you want to say. What I do say is if you hear your neighbor say the same thing you did, whether it's said 8 times or twice, it's going to be looked at. Everything that's going to be brought up is going to be looked at. And again, I'll say this as I said at the last meeting, I'm sure some of you weren't here, the glory of social media lets everybody know what's going on, but it also doesn't let you know the facts of what's going on. And I'll say this once again, this board is very transparent, as is everything in the town. If you want to know the facts to this, our secretary is available. Unicolab on our portal has everything on it. We have no problem. If somebody wants to make a phone call, talk to us, we return your calls, we'll give you the information. This process is a long process. Nothing is going to happen tonight. Nothing's going to happen right away. So for the lovely comments you hear or you read or you hear from somebody that says, oh, this is going to get approved, no. It's a process, and we're on the very, very initial stages of the process. So with that being said, again, any questions, please direct them to the planning office, myself, my secretary, our professionals, more than happy to address any concerns. So as I said, Max, you can explain the seeker process with the scoping document. Then Kirk, I'll throw it to you to do your.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is the first formal opportunity for the public to provide input and advice to the board on the seeker process. Seeker, you'll hear that term a lot. That stands for State Environmental Quality Review. That process requires any government agency that is going to review or approve a land use project before it does so to consider the environmental impacts that project will have and weigh and balance those environmental impacts against the project benefits, whether they be environmental, social, or economic. So what we are doing tonight is really talking about a document that's going to be prepared. The chairman spoke about the Part 1, the Part 2, and the Part 3 environmental assessment forms. That is the initial phase of seeker. That identifies, it's sort of like that first screening where we go through a project and we say, what are all the possible impacts that could occur? We did that process and we came away with about a dozen impacts that may occur, whether they be impacts to agricultural resources, impacts to wetlands, the aquifer, traffic, community character, aesthetics. We looked at all of those things and we said, okay, you know, there's a lot here. And I think the applicant really understood that there was a lot here, and rather than trying to say, no, we're not going to have any impacts, they said, yeah, we're going to have some impacts, let's go right into the EIS process. So after you get past this first screening, now we go into the deep dive process of seeker. And a draft environmental impact statement is a document that looks at all those impacts we identified in that first phase, and it's going to do a study on them. And that study is going to be prepared by the project sponsor. That's why it's called draft, okay? This board will review that draft, and we'll review it against the scope that you're all going to talk about tonight. The scope is the table of contents. It's the recipe that this board is telling the applicant they have to prepare this document against. They have to use the standards. The engineer, the town engineer, has suggested standards for how the traffic study needs to take place. There are standards in there against which they have to prepare flood studies and aquifer studies and stormwater studies. There's standards against which they're going to have to provide visual simulations and renderings. All of this will be submitted in a document called the Draft Environmental Statement, Environmental Impact Statement. That will be submitted to this board. We will review it against the scope, and if everything's in there, we will then schedule a second hearing, a second public hearing. And you will be given about 30 days to review that document before the hearing, and you will be able to come to this board and say, this doesn't look right, we disagree with this analysis, we disagree with this conclusion. Meanwhile, the board and its consultants will also be reviewing this document. This document will be sent to all involved agencies. This project requires permitting from at least 2 other agencies. Those are the Orange County Department of Health and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. These documents will be sent to those agencies for their comments. Once we've gotten all those comments back, we will go through another process of preparing a final environmental impact statement. That's this board's document. So the DEIS is prepared to the project sponsor's standards. The final environmental impact statement is prepared to this board's standards. So even if we ask the applicant to take the first draft attempt at preparing that, ultimately this board will control what that final document says and make sure that it reflects its findings on the project's traffic, the project's visibility, the impacts to the wetland, the impacts to the water, the impacts on the economy, the impacts on finances of the town, all of those items that we've asked them to study. Only after we've gone through that process will this board consider what's called a finding statement. And the finding statement is, this is all the environmental information we've assembled on this document, and this is our findings on whether this project's impacts outweigh the project's benefits, the social and economic benefits, or the social benefits, environmental benefits, and so on outweigh its impacts. That will decide whether we do findings to approve or findings to deny. That will likely occur, if I had to guess, because it's really dependent on how quickly the applicant gets the DEIS to us, probably in about 6 months is typical. As quickly as 3, probably more like 4 to 6. Tonight, okay, so that's a long process I went over. Let's go back to the beginning. The applicant, we asked the applicant, or we told the applicant, here are all the impacts that we think this project will have. The applicant prepared the draft scope. This is as the process is supposed to go. That scope says exactly what this DEIS will contain, and the methods at which all of these environmental analyses will be written. This is what we have before you tonight. If you have not reviewed that document and you're not prepared to speak on it tonight, that's okay. That document is on the town website, and this comment period is not ending tonight. So anything you have coming away from this, you want to dive deeper in that, you are allowed to submit comments in writing to this board, and they are considered at the same level and on the same basis as anything you tell us tonight. So do not feel like you're being rushed, that you have to get everything done tonight. This is for you to come. The applicant's going to provide a presentation. He's going to go over the project. If you have comments, if you want to put in input tonight, we're going to listen to everything you have to say. But the process will remain open until what? Tuesday? June 5th. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think we probably should leave it open. We need to leave it open later. Yeah. Yeah. So I would suggest at least the 15th. So 10 days from Friday.
10 days from Friday.
I think that'll still get us to the timeframes. So just so you know, the reason what we're considering is seeker, the law, not only provides this process to benefit the environment, to provide public access, it also has rules that we have to adhere to that protect the applicant's rights. So that will be extended to June 15th.
We'll make a mention of that at the end of the scoping session.
Kurt, are you going to go through at all the impacts that have been identified in the draft scope?
I was planning to just hit the headlines.
Okay.
Not go through it in depth.
I think that's
That's what
yeah,
we need.
that's what we need.
So
Okay.
would you like to go through your discussion of the
Yeah.
project?
I'm going to block you now, Max. Good evening, everybody. Kirk Rother, I'm a civil engineer representing the project.
Or just get a little closer to the mic, please.
I know I'm almost invisible. You can see through me, but. The property is 38 acres situated on the eastern side of New York State Route 94 in between Leo Katie's Ford, right here, and what's known as the Sullivan Building. ShopRite, Price Chopper across the street. This would be AutoZone. This would be Chase Bank. Barrett Circle, Wilder Drive up here. One thing that I think the public isn't aware of is the PDR and what's open space. So this whole parcel is around 80 acres, which goes quite high up the hill. It goes actually behind the Warwick Drive-In and has access onto Warwick Turnpike. The back half of this was always zoned residential. There was a proposed development on it in 2005 called Miller's Ridge, and that land has now been put in PDR. This front 38-ish acres was always zoned commercial. It used to be zoned design shopping, which allowed things like Price Chopper, or ShopRite and Price Chopper. And in 2010, the town changed the zoning of this whole corridor to this community business zone. It's the newest zone the town has. They've had some overlays since then, but as far as an actual zoning district, it's the newest zone. We propose 9 buildings in a mix of retail, office, medical, residential component, and then also recreation. Proposed access would be across from the Price Chopper entrance. This existing signalized entrance would definitely be upgraded to include a traffic light to accommodate us. As a part of this community business zone, the town requires that we have marginal access road that runs parallel to Route 94 to try to alleviate traffic between the multiple properties along this corridor. So we have the Sullivan Building here. We're proposing a connection to that. And then somehow we have to get a connection out to Warwick Turnpike. It's complicated. The natural place would be through Leo Katie's lot, but that would bisect this lot. The other option is to somehow come out at ShopRite, but to push traffic through the ShopRite parking lot is also complicated. So we have a couple of options. They haven't been finalized. They'll be analyzed as a part of the EIS. Just to give, so the 9 buildings we have called Tier 1 and Tier 2 retail and residential. Tier 1, Tier 2 retail is intended to be smaller size businesses. Depending on whether it's tier 1 or tier 2, the minimum size of the space is either 1,000 square feet or 2,000 square feet. I believe that was done at the time to prevent competition with the village, which I know is a valid concern, right, from everybody. These units here are allowed to have accessory apartments, which would access from the back. From the front, this is a 2-story building. So this image here, the building in the front and the two in the back, is this cluster of buildings right here. So these are 2-story buildings in the front. It would be commercial on the first floor. In the back, it's built into the earth, and the rear would be 2nd-story entry apartments. So Wilder Drive, Barrett, is it Barrett or Bradner? Barrett. Yeah, I know, I know Wilder. They would be looking at a 1-story residential entrance from the backside of these structures. The owners are very aware of the cemetery, the Blaine Cemetery. In fact, when I was working on the residential part for Mr. Miller, this was overgrown. You couldn't even walk through it. It was brambles and prickers and things like that. It was that way when the current owners took possession of it. They have since contacted a veterans group, or been in contact with a veterans group in northern Jersey, just over the border. And they've cleaned that up and made it accessible, and you can see the tombstones and things like that. So, a high-level overview of the project. We have a lot of studies yet to be done. I'm not going to take a lot of time because there's a lot of people that want to speak. This is a rendering of what the site would look like from Route 94. This is the Price Chopper entrance. This would be the boulevard entrance into the site. The boulevard entrance is required by the community business zone. So to just quickly touch on the scoping document. When we're going through scoping, a lot of it is fairly standard across projects. We have things like topography, soils, erosion, sediment control. So again, I'm going to go high level. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this already. I know there have been comments on it. And the purpose of tonight, like Max said, is for you to tell us if we missed anything. That's really it. And if we did, if the board tells us we need to add it, we'll add it and we'll study it. So our high level impacts we identified are topography, soils, and geology. Wetlands and surface water. So there's a stream on this property that's a tributary to Wayanda Creek. There's really not a lot of wetlands on this property. It's pretty high, well-drained soil. Stormwater management. That is my ballywig. We would have to design our stormwater management system to comply with current DEC standards. Vegetation and wildlife. So we have, I'm going to back up a little bit. It's not just me working on this on our side of the fence. I have a team of professionals behind me. I'm kind of the lead on the overall site plan and general engineering. We have a traffic consultant, we have a biologist, we have an archaeologist, we have a planner that's going to handle the fiscal impacts and those types of analyses, market analysis. And then all of us professionals will come together and prepare this cohesive DEIS that Max had spoken about. So vegetation and wildlife, we have a biologist looking at it already so that we get some cross-season analysis of the site to look at flora and fauna. Really the whole site right now is a field or half of it is dirt because Tuna Sweetman just planted corn on it. Cultural resources, again, we're very aware of the cemetery. When this site was looked at in 2005, I don't know if folks are aware, Bon Secours was considering putting a medical campus on this property. So they had a pretty thorough archaeological study done back then. We have a copy of that. The gentleman that prepared it is still around. I'm in touch with him. So we know where the cemetery is. They covered that cemetery with ground penetrating radar back then to see the extent of it. We know where the cultural artifacts are, and we will avoid them. Visual resources, obviously a concern for everybody. You can see based on the renderings that we took that into account right out of the gate. We're trying to somewhat maintain an agricultural feel to it. Not big box, not ugly. We might mix up the colors a little bit. The planning board will identify where we are to do renderings or actually take photographs and superimpose the site onto those photographs.
Also, Kurt,
So depending on where they suggest and we agree we should take photos, we will have actual visual simulations done that show what this looks like on a real-world photograph. Transportation, fully aware of it, know it's an issue. I live here, my clients live here. The list of intersections to be studied right now in the scoping document is based on feedback we got from the New York State Department of Transportation. The consultant that I use for traffic just happens to be the engineering firm that designed the Route 94 improvements for the New York State DOT from Vernon all the way to Chester. So they're very aware of the traffic issues out here and fully aware of what happens during apple picking season, and it will be looked at. I'm almost finished. Land use and zoning, this is where it's going to, community character, are we a draw from the village, those types of things will be looked at in the land use and zoning, fiscal impacts, and utilities, water and sewer. I've heard possible connections to the village system, definitely not happening. There's an existing water district at Price Chopper, there's an existing sewer district at Price Chopper. We plan to use those. We might have to make improvements to it, but that's to be sorted out. So that's water and sewer. Community facilities, that's things like police, fire, EMS. That can even identify impacts to schools and whether schools have resources and capacity for the folks that move in here. Touch base on the residential component. I saw some comments about why one bedroom. It's all the zoning allows. In this community business zone, one bedroom accessory apartments no bigger than 750 square feet is what's allowed. My clients would like to have a mix of more than one bedroom, but we can't. Greenhouse gas and climate change is a relatively new thing required by the state when we're doing an environmental impact statement. Then short-term impacts, like what's going to happen during the construction phase and things like that. And then we always do an analysis of what happens, compare this to if the project were never built, and then noise and lighting are the last two. I'll end it there and let other people speak.
Before I open it up to the public, I'm going to go to our board professionals. Thank you.
Ben, can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I talked about the team I have around me and that we don't have a lot of answers now. Max had said once the DEIS is accepted by this board and deemed complete, there'll be a public hearing on it then. Max said 6 months, wishful thinking based on my experience, and we're the ones that are in control of that timeline. But when that time comes, all of those professionals that I mentioned will be here to answer questions and discuss what they found and address what is in the DEIS.
I happen to agree with the timeline. I think 6 months is extremely wishful thinking. Very ambitious. Well played, Max, but I don't see that happening. I believe there's a lot of studies that need to happen, a lot of review by our professionals, and it's going to take a while, period. So as I said, Mr. Grulich, our attorney, do you have anything?
Sure. Kirk, can you lower the placard?
One thing we didn't already talk about is the PDR.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that right now. Okay, there are a lot of complicated legal issues that the applicant must face. It's located on a state highway. Orange County Department of Health will be involved. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. There are water and sewer capacity issues. We mentioned the cemetery. Historic and archaeological artifacts exist. Setback, lot area limitations, traffic and parking, typical things. But I did want to say that, from a fundamental zoning standpoint, this is a permitted use in that zoning district. One question we've been receiving here at Town Hall is, well, wait a minute, weren't the development rights sold for this property as part of the PDR program? And what I've posted is an outline in yellow that shows that portion of the farm whose development rights have been sold. And that's basically the elevated portion of the farm that you can see from Route 94. The flat portion, which is not as visible because it's very flat, the development rights were not sold on the lower portion, on the flat portion that face Route 94.
Bob, do you want me to go point it out for the gallery?
If you want to. So it's a little confusing because there is a sign located on Route 94 that says development rights were sold, but the portion of the farm that was sold is the upper portion that Roger will now
Well, it's,
highlight.
So this is the upper portion here. Here's Route 94 right here. Leo Katie's shop right.
It's
movie
also the
theaters
other
here.
portion.
So I give everybody, I don't know if everybody can see this.
Make that screen face the audience.
I'll try. I might break it.
Nobody can see it.
That better? All right. So this way, everybody can see. This is the upper part of the farm. This is more up toward like Ox. This is the people who live there know their neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Route 94 here, the shopping center, the drive-in movie theater. So he has a small strip,
well, you have that whole yellow box right there also.
yep, that can access this. Right now, the applicant is using this as a vineyard. It's beautiful, great vines up throughout here.
Well, the board was up there this evening, the entire board was up there this evening for a site visit. We took a walk, took a look around, and, well, that's
So-
next time, Katie.
This is where.
Make sure you
the
get some
development
burgers
will
on.
be, right in this piece here. So if you,
This fits. That's almost perfect.
you know,
We plan.
as you can see what Kirk has in pink, we go right in here.
To clarify,
Well, hold on. Before we start asking questions, I want to get them on the record. We're not just going to do a back and forth here.
So Wilder Circle. So the Wilder, I mix them up, Wilder Circle.
yeah,
So they back up against this open space. The only ones that don't are the residents in this.
A little cul-de-sac.
So the applicant, we did talk to the applicant today about the sign. It's their right whether they want to move it or not. I think when they put it there, it was more of a prominent location. I don't know if it was even these owners at that time, I don't know. So Roger mentioned to him that maybe it should be moved, it would make sense to move it, but that's not on us, that's on
The
them.
sign should be here, folks, because this is the property that's preserved. They've had, you know, the sign has been down here for years because everyone passes it on the highway. So it's kind of, I was upset about it, I was like, it's a little bit misleading, to be honest with you.
Okay, listen. All the comments, I've got to get them on the record.
I'm done.
We're not doing this. All right, Mr. Kulik, you done?
I'm done.
Ms. Barca, any comments?
Most everything I was going to mention has already been said. The only thing I will say is in our comments, we are requesting specifically for the traffic that both Wilder Drive, Bradner Drive be added as intersections to study, and also the situation with the proposed traffic circle and without the proposed traffic circle. Because we know what's happening, but who knows what's gonna happen first? I mean, it was supposed to happen this year, now it's gonna happen next year, so just as the catch-all, we are asking for those situations to be added.
All right, any board members at this time have any comments, concerns for the applicant? No? All right, as I said, we are going to take public comment. What I would like everyone to do is raise your hand, I'll ask you to come up, speak by the microphone. I would ask, we've had this in the past, you know, clapping doesn't do anyone any good. We'll get to you. I'll get to everybody here, trust me. I did not yet, I will. I said I will. So what I'm saying is, if you have a comment, I will get to everybody. We'll bring you up, go to the microphone, say what you have to say, and the clapping doesn't do any good. We want to get it, we want to get what you hear on the record, and all the clapping does is distort it, okay? So you, put your hand up, come up and speak.
state your name, please, for the record.
My name is David Jones. I live in the village.
Okay.
I just found out about this project quite recently, so I actually had a few hours on Monday and Tuesday to review all of the documents here in your town hall. I just heard this gentleman say that he has an archaeologist on site that has done studies. None of that data is in the record, by the way.
We don't have it yet.
I'm just making an observation, sir.
And I'm just saying, we just don't have any of that data yet.
Okay, so I do have a number of observations that appear to be deficiencies in the initial scoping of your EIS. First of all, there apparently are two cemeteries. There's the Blaine Cemetery, and there's a First Nations burial grounds. The First National burial grounds needs to be addressed. It is not delineated on this drawing anywhere. It's, I believe, a clear demarcation and understanding of where this burial ground extends and what artifacts, if any, should be preserved and how that preservation should look like. This, I feel, would require actually professional geological exploration. Point two on that, the Lenape should be contacted. A clear communication documentation should be initiated with all potentially interested descendants of the Lenape. The documentation should show that the Lenape have been contacted and what their response might be. Below, I include a small excerpt from the Museum of Indian Culture just to give some ideas of where. There are only 2 Lenape tribes in the United States federally recognized by the Bureau of Indian Affairs in Washington, D.C. That's the Delaware Tribe of Indians in Bartlettsville, Oklahoma, and Delaware Nation in Onondaga, how you say that? Anadarko, Oklahoma. There's also the Stockbridge Munsee Band of Mohican Indians in Wisconsin, and they're also federally recognized. These are also federally recognized and related to the Lenape. In Canada, you have the Delaware of Six Nations, part of the Six Nations of the Grand River, the Delaware Nation at Moraviantown, and the Munsee Delaware Nation. And I'm going to put this in writing also.
If
you
you can
guys,
submit that to us.
yeah, I will, and I'll give you the source of where I got that information. On another spin of this, another subject, socioeconomic and environmental modeling. So, modeling the socioeconomic impacts of this should be undertaken. And I find it hard to believe you can have a design before you do that, but that's me. All developments in the area should demonstrate to the best of our abilities that all developments benefit Warwick as a whole. These developments should show how our downtown businesses are supported as well as the community at large. It is a sad reality that a lot of small downtown main streets have been decimated by developments outside the downtown area and diminishing or destroying the small town feel and culture. Warwick still has a fairly vibrant downtown, and maintaining that we should absolutely support. I did not see anywhere in the documentation any mention of the use of the CTPP databases, which are freely available. I'll just, in case you don't know what they are, I've written a small thing, just pulled it out of Wikipedia. That's a very well-known database for planners. The Census Transportation Planning Products Program, CTPP. The main uses of CTP tabulations are for creating population forecasts, performing environmental justice and social equity analyses, examining household life cycles and behavior, analyzing the socio-demographics of a population, creating models of vehicle ownership, and validating transportation forecast output. The CTPP tabulations include several geographies. You'll get that in my writing when I put it in. I don't need to bore everyone. This database should be fully utilized in socioeconomic modeling, as well as other databases that can facilitate a clear picture of the impacts of this development on Warwick. Modeling should include also a comprehensive examination of the impact of all development on aspects of this proposed project. The variables and models used in that work should be transparently available to all interested parties with the ability for input on how those models are designed and executed. Multiple decades of data should be incorporated to allow for model adjustments. All of the above modeling should be tied into a comprehensive GIS, a Geographic Information Systems database. This GIS database should be sufficiently developed to identify all geography-related information, including endangered habitat regions, the subsurface systems like the aquifer, water runoff, bedrock patterns. These have all been mentioned already. One of the things about the aquifer is that you should clearly identify its extent. It likely includes both New York and New Jersey. Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, I'm just looking at the data I have in there. So anyway, to me, that's pretty much all I'm going to tell you. The rest of it I'll put in writing.
Please submit that to us.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Just state your name for the record.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Yes, absolutely.
My name is Alan Held, putting a face to the name. Many of you have known me since elementary school, preschool in some cases. I'm 30 years old. I'm a 30-year resident, 98 Pine Island.
You just made a lot of us look old, but that's...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Just continue.
I'm here as a private citizen, but I'm also the deputy town historian. 98 Pine Island Turnpike, formerly of 31 Wisner Road. I emailed the planning board on April 17th, and I appreciate you addressing my letter via phone call. Unfortunately, I didn't get an answer to the questions that I asked, so I'm going to ask these questions or bring these questions up again.
Well, you probably won't get an answer this evening, as I said.
That's understandable.
But just so, as you heard, we are garnering the information to give answers.
Okay, understood.
So giving misleading or false answers is not what we do.
I understand completely.
We give
So
the facts. It's that simple.
understand. Thank you, sir.
welcome.
So my main concerns were, again, around the cemetery. I have a somewhat of a historical complex or context. Again, I'm the unpaid appointed deputy town historian, so again, this is my amateur take on this. But the cemetery as outlined by Mr. Rother's drawings here, again, this is his outline of it. Section 74 of the town code has to do with cemeteries, where you can build and where you can't build.
Address the board. Address us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're the ones that need the information.
Yes, sir. So, according to Section 74 of the Town Code, this board cannot permit any commercial or residential building within 100 feet of any cemetery or burial ground. It doesn't, cemetery, graveyard, or burial ground, it doesn't matter. It defines a burial ground as anywhere that anyone is buried. It doesn't have to be a defined, a cemetery. As a matter of fact, it lists several cemeteries in the town. Some of them are well-known, some of them are not well-known, including this cemetery. It specifically lists this one during the time that it was owned by Milton Sanford between 1886 and 1917. Building number 5 on Mr. Rother's drawing, despite his team of professionals, is within 100 feet. These plans as submitted do not comply with town law. In addition, buildings number 6 and number 9 are within 200 feet, which require a special use permit. I don't know if that's inside or outside the seeker process, but...
All of this process is with us now, and I could almost guarantee that these plans, as you see them now, will probably not be the same if and when this ever gets approved, because things will morph into something different. We don't have any archaeological reports. We don't have any wetland reports. We don't have water reports. As they come in, things change. This is so initial of stages. The applicant, yes, they drew plans. Great. We are not into the nuts and bolts of this yet. We will get there. As we start getting information to us, that's when things will morph into what it potentially could be.
Thank you. My other concern is the town code, while it describes certain cemeteries and where you can and can't build, it doesn't really describe what the definition of the boundaries of a cemetery. And I would assume it's up to the planning board to define where exactly the Lane Cemetery starts and ends, and whether or not there would have to be an archaeological survey, whether we're going to have to dig, whether we're going to trust a survey. My recommendation, like Mr. Jones had described, would that be the Lenape Nation be officially brought on as an interested party in this case, and I think there exists sufficient evidence to bring them on prior to any kind of digging or any kind of survey, as the historical record clearly shows that there are Native Americans buried in the cemetery based off of the Miller family in 1921 describing it, the 1907 cemetery census describing Native Americans buried prior to the Blaine family. In the record, it shows that there are 61 unmarked graves in addition to the 8 marked graves. In a 21st century cemetery census, there aren't those 61 field stones. So the cemetery borders have changed in the last 120 20 years. So those are my recommendations. I'm here for factual context. I'm not here to generate an opinion. I'm just here to present things
Well,
for the
our planner
board.
may reach out to you as a deputy town historian, so
Okay.
I'm glad you came this evening.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben, I would second that. I want to congratulate Alan. I read every bit of information that comes across my desk or computer. I spent last week a whole evening in my office reading stuff. And folks, Alan Held, I'm very proud of him. I've known him since he was like 2. And this guy, he's the real deal right here. Great job, Alan. And, you know, we will use your information, and I'm sure, as the chairman said, we'll hook you up with Max here.
I did have one final thing. So let's just say this process does go forward, the building does commence, and let's just say a bone is found somewhere on the process, and the construction company does somehow report that that bone is found. Would that theoretically take that 100-foot border and extend it to that point? And
I'm
then
not going to get into
Okay.
hypotheticals, so let's find out first where we are. I mean, to sit here and do hypotheticals does anyone no good at this point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? You, sir. Katie, I'll get to you. I'll get you, Katie.
I'm sorry, Katie, you're in the front row, too. Oh, hey, Katie. All right, so my name is Logan Graney. Graney, Graney. I work as a sanitary engineer, environmental engineer, depending on how you want to bill it. I'm not necessarily here to talk about the wastewater aspect. I know that's going through everything. Obviously, working as a wastewater engineer, I'm familiar with the secret process. You know, I'm familiar with environmental impact statements. Please pardon me. My mother is calling me, I swear to God.
Take the call.
No, I will mute her.
You don't know what's
I
going to
will
happen.
mute her. I will mute her.
Yeah, now, you know, this is live stream.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
I will
Just
give-
for the record.
I will give her the YouTube link so she knows why I didn't answer. Yeah, so, you know, I work as an environmental engineer. I'm familiar with all these aspects. I'm familiar with Kirk Rother's work. You know, I know he does great stuff in the town of Monroe, up in the village of KJ, everything over there. My primary concern, personally, is just in terms of the effect that it may or may not have on the walkability of the town and the village of Warwick. I also know, you know, I mean, I, as anybody else, goes on to LinkedIn, which is a stupid website, and I do not like it. It annoys me. But
could you speak a little bit louder, Ryan?
absolutely. Yeah, no, I can enunciate a bit better. So I'm speaking specifically on a few different articles that I've seen, right? Particularly on mixed-use residential and commercial developments. I know they're kind of all the rage, particularly in urban areas. I don't think they work in either suburban or rural areas. There's quite a few studies that show, I actually have a couple copies, if anybody wants them. More than welcome to share them on the written record as well. But there's quite a few studies that show that a lot of these mixed-use residential commercial areas end up with vacant commercial on that first floor. You know, you end up with, I don't know, whatever the heck's going on over in Vernon, right? Below the ski slope, the Mountain Creek, right?
At the Appalachian Hotel?
Yeah, over at the Appalachian Hotel. You know, you end up with dead, vacant areas down below there. You end up with, I mean, we see it over on, not Grant Street, but right over there by the, I'm sorry, I'm so bad with street names. Right over there by the fire department, right? We've got that new building that just went in. I think it was a Kennedy. Forrester, God, thank you so much, everybody. Right, we've got that vacant restaurant that's down there, which I know may or may not have to do with the concrete flooring there. But either way, we're going on, what, 6-7 months there, where you've got a completely vacant commercial area down below, and you end up with this weird kind of, in my opinion, graveyard where you've got, I mean, I don't want to see anything developed there on a quite personal level, but you end up, I would rather see, I don't know, 10 or 12 McMansions over whatever the heck is the most hip and happening thing going on LinkedIn in terms of commercial development. I don't think it's viable. I don't think it's sustainable. This is my personal opinion. I don't know.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Can I
of course.
interrupt you just for a moment?
By all means.
I'm not following how this ties back into the scoping document, which is what we're supposed to be.
Well, I think what it will tie into is the feasibility, economic feasibility of the project.
Thank you
If
so
can submit
much.
that, that'd be perfect.
I would be happy
One thing I
to.
will say, though, as far
Yeah.
as the mixed use,
Mm-hmm.
this board follows the code that's written.
I get you.
So
I follow.
we don't change the code as we go through the process. We can't.
I hear
So we
you.
follow the code and
As it's written.
as the applicant will as you know.
Yeah.
So that's why our engineer, that's why even the applicant mentioned the economic, social studies that have to be done to put the data forth.
Yeah, I am so glad you said that, actually, because my first question right here is, I guess, whether or not the applicant has evaluated a similar mixed-use development, right, in either a suburban or rural area, and what, I guess, even what that commercial occupancy rate was after, let's say, 5 years, let's say 10 years, if that was or wasn't part of that application.
Max?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think what would help actually is probably for you to rephrase and ask that question.
Okay.
Have you considered this instead of what you're proposing?
I will ask that directly.
Is something
Yeah.
that we could directly put right in the scope as an alternative that he needs to consider.
Okay, yeah.
And that makes
Would you
all
like
the
me to
sense.
rephrase that right now
You
or
don't
in
need
a
to
written
rephrase it now.
statement?
You can send
You
it
can
to us with
submit it,
this-
yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll
And
submit
we
that
understand that from this conversation.
happily, yeah.
It's best to email me your correspondence.
Yeah, but all of this, like you pointed out,
Mm-hmm.
very good points. Redirect that question. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, perfect, yeah, I can put that in the
Mr.
written.
Showalter.
Ben, could you please explain to the gallery before the next person who comes up and asks a question, just explain to the gallery regarding the comprehensive plan that was done, that's done every, say, 8-10 years, and then how it affects the code that we're talking about now. This way they get the folks get an understanding of how it works,
Sure.
in a nutshell.
Well, there is a comprehensive plan of the town of Warwick that was devised by the town residents, that they wanted, as you pointed out, your homes. They wanted commercial properties in certain areas. This was one of the areas that were selected for the commercial corridor, as you have ShopRite, Price Chopper, the banks, the auto zone. There's a component that when you deal with, you hear it all the time. Our taxes are so high here, our school tax, all right. We need ratables. Okay, well, I don't think single-family homes are the ratables you're gonna get. Commercial properties do give you some ratables. You have the prison property that gives us some ratables. You have this corridor that will give us some ratables. So that's where we are as far as our board. A comprehensive plan was done, a Town of Warwick zoning code was enacted, and this is where we are to follow that. As you pointed out, there are ways to ask the question. Does it make sense economically? Will it work? Will you be able to rent those stores? Will you be able to rent the apartments? Will it be, I don't think any developer, quite frankly, is going to want to build something and have it empty. It's quite foolish.
Of course not.
But that's, again, that could be a reality. That's why we ask for these studies. And that's why we want to see those studies and see where they are.
Yeah, no.
So, Roger, good point.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, no problem. You good?
Yeah, no, I
Call
have,
your mother back, too.
I swear, I have like 2 more points.
Go ahead.
The first of those, I think I mentioned in the beginning, you know, maybe I'm a millennial, but I really focus on the walkability aspect. And I look at a development like this, right, which is strictly only accessible via car, which has, I mean, I don't know, I haven't looked at it
Well, I
and
do
done the math,
believe
but how much of that
I
is
do
parking
believe the
lot?
municipality is studying, and this isn't our board, that's a town
That's the
board issue.
village,
They're
yeah.
studying like a walking trail or a trail system from the Village of Warwick through the 94 corridor.
Okay.
Where they are at that point, I really don't know, but I know that's between the Village of Warwick, the Town of Warwick, so that is ongoing. So that statement may or may not be true at this point. If they can work something out, I'm sure the leaders that are in place will get it done.
Yeah.
It's a good point, though.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, so that, I mean, that's exactly what I was going off of, you know, I don't know, maybe I don't know, Hobby Lobby goes down on the first floor. I say
I don't
that
think
because I
that'd
love a
work.
Hobby Lobby. No, no,
Not with
I
our
don't mean
tier,
to.
not
No.
with our tier 1 and 2.
No, I'm sorry, I don't mean to imply that either. But I'm just going off of, you know, my two key points were specifically the walkability and the feasibility.
Perfect.
Because I've seen multiple times, you know, that this type of development ends up sitting there
Perfect.
And
And
it's-
again, if you could submit that to us,
happily.
I would truly appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you
course.
so much.
Thank you.
Call your mother. Anyone else? Katie, I looked right over you again.
Ignoring the whole front row. I got here early and everything. Sean
Oh,
saved seats.
you know, relax.
I know.
girl.
I think that you're purposely ignoring me. It's fine.
Oh, look at that. Appreciate that, Katie.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Katie O'Leary. I live at 7 Barrett Circle, and my property line sits approximately 50 to 100 feet from the proposed Blaine Square development, which seems to be left off of these beautiful designs is the fact that our house is quite literally the backyard of this. So I wish there was actually a picture to show our backyard and how it would be impacted. My connection to Warwick runs much deeper than simply owning a home here. In 1979, my mother moved to Warwick with her 10 siblings. Nearly 5 decades later, our family is still here. When our current home came on the market just down the road from my grandparents' house, we put in an offer that same day because staying in Warwick and remaining close to family was important to us. Like many families, we chose Warwick not because it was the easiest place to live, but because it was the place we wanted to call home for generations. When my family purchased our home back in December, we paid a Warwick preservation tax and believed it was meant to protect the very things that make Warwick worth living in: open space, farmland, scenic, and basically our backyard. Those values are not just part of Warwick's marketing materials, they are the foundation of the community and the reason many families choose to invest here. My primary concern is traffic. I know you guys are working on this. Residents living off of Route 94 already experience significant delays during peak weekends, particularly during orchard, winery, and tourism seasons. It is not uncommon for residents in our development to wait 10 to 15 minutes simply to exit onto the Route 94. This is before adding 72 residential units, retail spaces, office space, and recreational area. The reality is that every apartment, every storefront, every employee, every delivery truck, and every visitor will rely on the same roadways that are already strained. Traffic is merely an inconvenience when emergency vehicles, school buses, and local families are competing for the same limited infrastructure. I am also concerned about the transparency and long-term planning. Throughout this process, residents have heard discussions suggesting that additional future uses may be envisioned for this property. Whether those discussions prove accurate or not, they underscore a larger concern. The community deserves a complete understanding of the project's long-term vision before approvals are granted. Incremental expansion after initial approval is not uncommon, and once development rights are established, the impacts on surrounding neighborhoods becomes difficult, if not impossible, to reverse. This proposal is often framed as progress, but Warwick must ask itself a simple question: progress towards what? Families do not move to Warwick because they are looking for apartment complexes, mixed-use developments, or suburban-style conversion centers. They move here because Warwick is different. They move because there are farms, orchards, and open lands, and a sense of community that cannot be replicated elsewhere. Warwick has never promised convenience. Most of us accepted longer commutes for fewer chain stores and a slower pace of life because preserving our rural character was worth the trade-off. That character is not an obstacle to overcome. It's Warwick's greatest asset. I respectfully urge the planning board to reject the current proposal and protect the vision of future generations of Warwick residents, because once farmland becomes pavement, there is no undo button. No future board can vote on an orchard back into existence. No traffic study can restore a lost view. No apartment complex can replace the sense of place that brought families here in the first place. The question before you is not what Warwick will gain from this project. The question is what Warwick will lose and whether that loss is worth it. So I ask you to choose the Warwick that people travel here to experience, not the Warwick that they left every place behind. Thank you for your time and consideration. And my biggest concern at this point, sorry, I'm pregnant, so I'm a little shaky. After we're talking about all of these proposals are completed, what is stopping them from changing something later, like we've seen going on in like I don't want to name certain businesses in Warwick that have had conflict recently that are like trying to add things post
Well,
completion.
it'd be segmentation, correct? You cannot, as they come through this process, what gets approved here is on an approved site plan, special use permit. That doesn't get changed.
Okay.
And again, you mentioned your home.
Yeah.
We did a walk on the property this afternoon, right before this meeting, actually. If there's something you'd like us to see,
Yeah.
give us a call. I'm sure.
You're welcome to come to my house and stand in my backyard.
Okay, so, no,
I'm being serious.
that's the reason I'm asking that question.
Yeah.
If there's something that you feel that we
Yeah.
could see, this board is very amenable to take a run out there.
Okay. Yeah. I think you guys should definitely come just because he has said like it will directly impact Barrett, and I
Well,
don't think.
Again,
he's
it's not
seeing
it's not a
exactly.
problem.
Yeah.
We're not walking in people's backyards, but we will, if you
You
invite
could
us,
stand on the
we'll be
property
there.
line. Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Okay.
You in the back, sir. I'll get you right there.
Can I address one thing?
Yep, go ahead.
Just briefly, and while you come up, I just want to clarify again, the purpose of this meeting, there will be another hearing where we can get into how everybody feels about the project, but really, tonight is about what do you want them to study in the EIS, okay? There's going to be another conversation we're going to have once this document is done, where you guys can tell us every reason you think that this board shouldn't approve the project. That conversation is going to happen. But when it happens tonight, it's not going to be addressed in the FEIS. If it happens in 6 months from now, it will be. That's the distinction. So if you say something tonight that's not about what you want to be in the study, I think this board is going to listen to you and take it to heart, but it's not going to affect the process now. It needs to be restated in the future.
State your name, sir.
My name is Matthew Hedge. I'm the owner of Pioneer Farm. First, I just want to say, let's go Knicks. We got a big game tonight. So
Half an hour,
I'm also
right?
going to make it brief.
Half an hour, right? Yeah.
I got to make it brief. So I would just say that I think everybody here can agree that the PDR program has been a huge success for this village. And that I think this project really represents a stain to that PDR program. You know, we've all driven by this site and seen the sign on Route 94 and said, okay, great, pat ourselves on the back. That's part of our green belt. That's preserved open land. And then to find this is on the horizon is going to be a huge stain to that PDR program that so many of the previous generation has fought for. So I guess what my question would be to the planning board is how does that interact? Can we say like, hey, we made a mistake? Hey, let's get this thing into
I don't think you can say you
PDR.
made a mistake on a PDR.
Not on PDR, but putting in the.
But here's the problem. When that farm was done on PDR, that was all vetted. They got paid for the development rights, less than 38 acres, 37 acres. That was all public record. It was all public documentation. Where they put the sign, again, Mr. Showalter was a big proponent out there this evening. I think his exact words were, what the hell is the sign here for?
No, it was.
I agree. I don't want to use the words you used.
Yeah.
But with that being said, your point's valid. The sign was there.
I'm not as concerned about the sign. I'm concerned about the program, right? I mean, this is a blight on PDR if we let this thing go through.
That's your opinion. I think the ones that did it had all intentions to preserve a lot of property, and they pulled the commercial out of it. I don't know what to say about that. That wasn't us.
Okay. Well, no, I don't. I'm not blaming you.
No.
But I do think that maybe, you know, it's worth taking a look at and saying, hey, we got to approach the owners, and if this is the leadership of needs to do it, and try and pay them off to get it into PDR. Right? I don't want to see this thing open.
Let's pay them off.
Give them $3 million. Out of here.
Take up a collection.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? You, sir.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Alejandro Martinez. I'm a New York State trooper. Martinez. I'm a New York State trooper and a resident of 7 Barrett Circle as well. On the current environmental assessment form, I noticed that under the consistency with community character, the applicant currently has under the proposal for a creation for demand for community resources, such as police and fire, things like that. They marked it as no impact or little, which I find very hard to kind of
Which we
imagine.
don't know yet. Because
Exactly, yeah.
letters will go to the emergency services, the fire, the police.
To find out
EMS.
what it is. Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha, okay.
That's
So that was
so
gonna be
early
my
in the
question.
process that
Yeah.
they will respond to us.
Okay. Are we going to be advised as far as which areas are going to be studied? Because the town of Warwick currently,
As far as?
like impact, because the town of Warwick currently, the most recent information we had was from 2020, where the town of Warwick responded to 235 domestics and 419 car accidents.
Well,
That's
letters
just-
will go to the Warwick Police Department, which
Okay.
serves that area, to the Warwick Fire District, which serves that area, and
Yep.
to the EMS that serves that area.
Okay.
You know, it's not gonna come from Pine Island.
No.
It's gonna come from that area.
Yeah.
The districts are serving.
Okay.
Okay?
So, yeah, my question was only going to be which areas are going to be studied, which I guess we don't know that right now.
Don't know that
Yeah.
right now. Well, it'll definitely be, it'll be in the scope, it'll be that
Okay.
area.
It is in the draft scope. Identify state, county, and local police departments to provide police coverage to the project site with a description of the following information for each. Station location, staffing levels, average response time expected to the project site, any existing deficiencies in staffing or facilities if available, any planned or proposed expansions or improvements to identify deficiencies. Identify fire departments, EMS providers that service the project site based upon discussions and correspondence with the respective departments. This will include a description of the following information: station location, staffing levels. It's basically the same stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to address that because the environmental assessment form said it was no to little, so I want to make sure.
So all of
Okay.
this information that I'm reading, again, got everybody here, is online. It's the draft scope. If you want additional information added beyond what this prescribes, let us know in writing.
And we'll
The
get it
board
in.
will consider it.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. That was my only question. Thank you.
Trooper, is your beat in Warwick?
It is. I'm out of the Florida Satellite, which is a substation of
look at you,
Monroe.
close to home.
So I'm familiar with whatever work it is, I guess, over there, and then this
Very
stuff as
good.
well, so.
Thank you for your service to us.
You, sir. I'll get to you one next. I had to take care of the front row. They were beating me up over here.
Then we gotta get him.
Will you get him? I said.
Sean Germain.
Sean, what was your last name?
Germain. Good evening. I've lived in the residential neighborhood situated between the intersections of Ox Orchard and Price Chopper since I was 2 years old. Previously mentioned in the full environmental assessment form, the Blaine Homestead Town Square is expected to have a moderate to large impact, leading to increased traffic in the intersections along Route 94, as Katie mentioned previously, and how, as we have sit there on our road, that we sit there for long periods of time on Wilder and Bradner Drive, and adding an additional 72 apartments and retail businesses is going to make it very difficult and worsen our driving conditions. As according to section 164.32a, it states that to limit the number of curb cuts along 94, a marginal access road is required to help reduce traffic conflict. As Kirk mentioned recently, the two marginal access routes that are on the map. The conceptual marginal access road that runs from Blaine to the back of the ShopRite parking lot. When vehicles enter this narrow parking lot region through this access, this is going to introduce additional traffic issues and create dangerous conditions for pedestrians and shoppers. Additionally, vehicles may use this access road to avoid the Price Chopper intersection, diverting heavy traffic directly into the Warwick Turnpike through the ShopRite parking lot. So the turning lane in the parking lot that goes on to Warwick Turnpike. And as we know, this is a particularly dangerous lane, as we've seen numerous tragic accidents in the past. Therefore, a marginal access road behind ShopRite may condense the traffic to a more dangerous intersection. And essentially, this means that there's no safe and efficient manner in which this development can divert traffic without causing drastic issues on 94. Because as we know, the conceptual marginal access route is supposed to divert traffic and lessen the through traffic on 94. But if you just divert it through the parking lot, you're just going to make it more dangerous for pedestrians and also on the more dangerous Warwick Turnpike. Onto water issues. So with an anticipated 30,000 gallons a day of water usage being taken from the Fairgrounds Water District of Price Chopper, what type of negative effects can we expect on nearby neighborhoods? So my parents who recently informed me that after Price Chopper was developed in 2010, they, as well as many of our neighbors, were forced to lower their wells. And after this costly, frustrating experience, we don't wish to be wrapped into another development that demands additional water from the aquifer that causes our well pumps to run dry. So I ask, this is a rhetorical question, if the project claims that their proposed well plans will meet the demands of their water usage, who's responsible for any residential well issues if they arise? Surely the developers won't claim any fault, leaving us poor citizens with the repercussions. The Town of Warwick 2008 Comprehensive Plan, which was created, and I quote, to accommodate new growth with the least impact on the environment and to preserve Warwick's natural beauty and its rural quality of life. As per this statement, the community business zone, as we know, which is highlighted in pink to my right, is supposed to encourage growth, but not at the expense of our surrounding environment. According to the environmental assessment form, the proposed action may result in an impairment of natural functions or ecosystem services provided by an undeveloped area, including but not limited to stormwater storage, nutrient recycling, and wildlife habitat. The project was deemed to possibly have a moderate to large impact on the aforementioned statement. This effect clearly disregards the main priority of Warwick's foundational comprehensive plans. Overall, I feel this project will put a great strain on the town of Warwick. Our road systems, electricity, water capacity, and other resources have to be carefully distributed to ensure all individuals have equal access. A project that may appear to improve the lifestyle of Warwickians may actually lead to a decrease in quality of life. The community business zone claims that it is in effect to create growth that meets community needs. Under quick inspection, does this development actually meet the needs of the community? Does retail businesses, an additional sports complex, where many are already found all over our town, and an introduction of a large number of individuals through apartments meet the needs of the community? And then the last main concern that I wanted to mention, according to section 16446J127, the following setback requirements shall prevail for parking, loading, fences, and solar panels. On the section B, residential district says that it has to remain 200 feet back from the boundary. Now, I'm not an expert, so I don't know, but this is kind of just to have it on the record as a question. It appears to be on the map that it is only 100 feet from the parking lot, or just over, and so I just wanted to bring that up, that might be a possible violation for building number 4.
Well, yeah, as you said, very good comments. And again, it's not a violation because nothing's approved.
No, I know, I'm just, yeah.
These are just conceptual
Yeah.
at this point, and we will go through the process.
Yeah, of course, I was just saying
And
because.
like the water uses, all of that, again,
Yeah.
as you heard,
Yeah.
that's an ongoing, it's gonna be.
And
on
I
both
just
sides.
also wanted to make a statement about if there was going to be a water analysis, obviously with the DEIS form that hasn't been completed yet, would that include our aquifer region under our residential neighborhood?
absolutely. That
Because
whole aquifer
obviously,
region's gotta
that
be
would
studied.
be a
Yes.
very big concern for us as
Thank you.
neighbors. Thank you.
You, sir. Yeah, no.
Hi all, my name is Sherwood Stevens. This is gonna be really quick for you all. It's just my point is mainly environmental and culturally. Currently, what is existing rural farmland is going to be a going monolith. These are all going to be commercial and residential buildings, and I worry about light pollution and the impact on local businesses. We're going to have 9 buildings that are going to be covered with outdoor lighting. What is the impact going to be on, let's first say, the Warwick Drive-In?
Absolutely.
It's a cultural impact. Like, you can't even
Absolutely.
drive into the drive-in at night with your headlights on, impacting all 3 screens. What is this going to do?
Again, as you heard this evening, that was one of the things we said at the site visit, just where the fields are going, what will it do to the drive? What will it do to, and it's not only that, it's the code, the Town of Warwick code has a lighting code. The light spillage is only allowed so much, you can't go so many foot candles over the property line. That has to all be ironed out. That's a very good question. All the planning board members said that. You're putting fields next to the driveway, great. There's a noise issue to that also. I know when my kids played, somebody scored a touchdown, somebody's screaming. So that's, if you try.
That was my question with the athletic fields directly behind.
So listen,
the
like I
screens.
said, that all those will be vetted out. Thank you, no, very good
Thank you.
questions. Anyone else? Anyone else? You, ma'am. 1 second. I'll get to the people that have spoken, 1 second. Let me get to the people that haven't spoken yet.
My name is Jennifer Christian. I've actually lived in Woodhaven Estates for 50 years in August. I have 2 homes, one on Bradner where I grew up, and my husband and I live at 8 Wilder Circle, which comes off the top of the map there. I have a question about the access to the possible future winery that hasn't been brought up. I see there's an access road here, but if I'm understanding properly, this here is where that is PDR. So what is proposed of that winery? I ask only for the fact that the other side of my property line is where the vineyards are.
I can ask the, Kirk, if you have an answer to that question?
Bob, can you pull up the PDR? Sure.
I guess my question would be, is that just you're growing grapes there, or would you have like a Warwick winery type business there as well?
So when these lands get PDR, as is the case with all PDR applications, they usually will accept out an area that can be used for homestead or some type of an agricultural business. And they don't get paid money for that acreage. On this PDR application, this area B and this area A were accepted out as potential areas for some sort So the intent right now, the owners are growing grapes here. The intent is they do want to have a winery eventually, an area B, which I believe is allowed in the document that established the PDR for this property. And they need an access to it, because this, although they have access to Warwick Turnpike, this stream, particularly in this stretch, is a very big ravine. So across this was really no practical. So we left, it's just a very conceptual at this point, an entrance at the end of our development to potentially get to the winery.
Okay. I only ask because I live here and I have two driveways actually. So my other driveway is an easement that goes up into Ox Orchard. My question is, this potentially could now fall into, would that be used to access this property? That's all.
And ma'am, as this process goes along, we could vet that out also. As we start going through the process, the access road, what could potentially go there. I mean, it is allowed as an agricultural operation, but we still will ask how it's gonna fit through this project.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Because.
Got one guy. Hold on one sec.
Because that last question was a back and forth between Kurt and, I forget your
Jen.
name, ma'am. Do you want, for the record, to Kurt to tell what that was about? 'Cause I
Well,
didn't get-
honestly, we're gonna vet this out regardless, Max.
No, I think she talked about, is there gonna be a road from
There
some
is, and it's on the
location to
plan.
another?
Yes.
And the answer was no.
Was it on the record is what Max is saying.
Connie's not gonna be able to get it off what was just discussed.
Okay, so
Why don't
Kurt,
you send me your concerns in writing too? Email it to me.
Sure.
And
Exactly
we'll make sure-
what you
My
said.
question was that would the access possibly then come from the other side of my property at Wilder Circle and then come back around?
and Kirk said no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that, Max.
There's a gentleman back there.
I know. Anyone else before did you talk to your mother yet? Did that? Well, then you, ma'am. I'm gonna get everybody that hasn't spoke, and then I'll get you again. You, ma'am? You? No?
There's a gentleman there.
We have in the back. Come on up.
Ben, I'm happy to talk a little bit about the wells too.
We'll get there.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jerry Schlichting. I live on Big Island Road in Warwick. Schlichting, I'll spell Schlichting. For the last 30 years, my family's owned Frazzleberry's country store here on Main Street in Warwick. And having been around this long, it's been an interesting evolution to watch the 94 corridor kind of evolve. I was here 16, 17 years ago when we were talking about the changes to the zoning and creating the community business district. And so in some ways, seeing these renderings is a little satisfying because back then we were worried about Walmart and extremely big box, Home Depot and whatnot. So in some ways, there is progress in this evolution. But for the scoping document, one of my biggest concerns, and I did submit a letter, but when we went through this process 16 or 17 years ago, the world was very different. The creation of the Tier 1 and Tier 2 uses reflected economies that existed back then, and the world has changed a lot. When we look at market analyses and when we evaluate sort of how much business a local economy can sustain, when we did this 16 or 17 years ago, Amazon just sold books. And now that truck comes to everybody's house every day. And so my biggest concern is as we go through this process, that any market analysis of what our local community can sustain is not just limited to brick and mortar. That is what I've always seen these analyses focus on, is how much median income is in a 5 or 10 mile radius of the proposed project, and maybe what sort of product categories are underserved. But we now have Amazon vans that deliver pretty much anything you need within 24 hours. So my request is that as we go through this process and we look at these, financial and market analyses, that there be some consideration for the fact like online and e-commerce have exploded in a way that didn't exist 16 or 17 years ago when this zone was created and the Tier 1 and Tier 2 uses were created. I think that's a critical part to evaluate what our community can sustain. Speaking on behalf of dozens of my neighbors who have been small business owners for quite a long time. It's not easy right now. I feel like between COVID and all of the aftershocks that we're all living through, we're all hanging on by a thread. And I worry that whatever analyses can be sort of created may not fully bake in all of the challenges that we currently face. So if there was a way to incorporate in that study e-commerce and the expansion of the shopping areas, not only here locally, but look at how Walk Hill has exploded in Middletown, look at Monroe and Harriman, so much more competition than there was, you know, when this zone was created.
Very valid
So,
point. Thank you.
thank you, appreciate it.
Someone else in the back there want to speak? You, ma'am. Come on up. It's you.
Great, I made notes and now they've disappeared.
Technology, technology.
Most of my thoughts were really on the change the nature of the town. I've lived here for, Kathleen Fury and.
You can pull the mic, you can pull the mic down, too.
Down?
Yeah, for you.
What was your last name? Fury, F-U-R-E-Y. Most of my thoughts were on the change in the nature of the town. I've lived here for 30 years, and if you just think of what's happened in the last few years, we have the townhouses in Forester, we have the 90 new townhomes on the extension. Even across from Maskers, we're going to have another 11 houses. It just seems like I would say to the board, I would ask you to protect us in terms of don't shoot the golden goose. Nobody comes up to this place to look at another rec center. Nobody comes up to look at how many new one-bedroom apartments. That's not something that really will enhance an agricultural community or a community based on tourism. It will have a very bad impact. I haven't reviewed the documentation because I wasn't aware of it before I got here. I will do so, and I will ask further
Submit a letter.
questions.
Yes, submit a letter.
But one of the things I did want to say is I would like information in the document on the builder who is proposed and their former projects. Not only, you know, what the reputation is and any complaints that might be, but also what do people in their communities feel about the success of their projects? Because it strikes me as what you're dealing with here, you have all these one-bedroom apartments kind of being added on to multiply the profitability of the project rather than something good for Warwick. I mean, when you're talking about one-bedroom apartments, they're going to be new, right? So they're going to be expensive. We're not accommodating workers who we might want to accommodate from the town. We're introducing the demographic that we used to be when we were 30 years old, working really hard at work 5 days a week, and then partying on the weekend. So are we looking at the impact of the commute to the bars and back on the weekend? You know, think about it. Seriously, one-bedroom apartments, who is that going to attract?
Well, again, we asked for the economic feasibility studies, which will include that.
Will it include that?
Absolutely.
Okay, that is something that I'd be interested in. And again, as a general comment, you guys are here to protect us, and this won't protect us. This does not improve our lives. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? You, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Sheila McLone, and I live at 2 Wilder Circle, and my property line borders part of the development. I had lots of notes, and just about everything was addressed, so I don't want to echo all of that. Of course, I have major concerns, and I have a simple question. So noise levels and lighting, it's going to have a great impact on my quality of life and my neighbors. How is that measured?
They're measured, that there is a design standards for lighting in the town that they would have to adhere to. And again, you know, that's downlighting. It can't be intrusive on your property, your neighbor's property.
Right.
And again, we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So to comment on it is premature.
So I'm not an environmentalist or an archaeologist. I'm a registered nurse. I worked in ICU
No,
at St.
we
Anthony's.
will have
so-
a lighting
Okay.
engineer review. And again, all of these documents that are prepared by the applicant are reviewed by our professionals.
Okay.
So, you know, HDR Engineering has professionals that does lighting, that does traffic, that does environmental. Max has people, you know, like I said, everything that's prepared is reviewed by our people.
Okay.
Questions are asked by our board members, and they are put to that's why they are here. They represent the Town of Warwick Planning Board.
Okay.
So your concerns are our concerns, which are now their concerns.
So I've heard traffic congestion
Absolutely.
over and over again. I still
Absolutely.
have to mention it. It's been
Well,
presented.
again, we know about that, but I
Yeah.
can't comment
I
on
know.
how, because we just don't know
I
what
know.
the
I just have
concerns are
to,
at this point.
to voice it, to get out
Absolutely.
of Wilder Drive or Bradner Drive is,
And
it's
as
been.
you heard, our engineer
know,
mentioned that was added to the study, and as the process goes along, if something else comes up, it will be added. It's not set in stone.
Right.
If we feel that something comes up, there's another intersection,
Right.
add it.
Right.
It's not an issue.
And as a gentleman who has left before said, the decimation of the village downtown
Well,
is
again,
such a concern.
that's a study. We did receive numerous letters from residents. I see the mayor of the village of Warwick is here. We received a letter from him and his board. So again, it's not like we're not aware of it. I just
Right.
can't answer questions that I don't know.
I understand. So 47 years ago, I sold my house in Bergen County to live in beautiful Warwick, followed our friends, right?
A lot of people did.
You know,
and they still are.
Yeah, I believe in progress. I do, and there has
I-
been great progress. And I appreciate you going over the process and Kirk.
Well, I
it's-
think progress has to happen.
Right. Yes.
The old planning board chairman told me this, and I'm going to express it.
Yeah.
When I first started, God, too long ago, because everybody got stood up here this evening made me feel very old. So he did say, if you don't grow, you die. And no
Right.
truer words were ever said.
Right.
You need to grow, you need to grow properly.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the leaders that this town has had over the years, they are all, and I'm talking the village of Warwick, I'm talking the town of Warwick, they all work together, and they all make Warwick what it is today. I've
Right.
been born and raised here. I think most of the people on this board been here a long time. And what you see, what everybody says here, is a testament to the comprehensive plan, to the zoning code, and to the forethought of everyone that's involved in this community. And our job, and as you can see, we take it very seriously. I don't think there's another board in this county or hell, the state, and I will go that far to say, has the wherewithal that this board takes it seriously. Our professionals are held to a standard that probably no other professionals are in this state. We are very, we require them to do everything 110%. I can't be any more clearer than that. But as you said, you came 47 years ago. There's probably people in this room that came 3 years ago.
Right.
And that will continue to come. And that is why we look at these projects, we follow the code, and we go step by step. There is no rush here. There is the point of doing it correctly and doing it right. And that's what this board strives on.
Right.
And it's continued for the 25 years I've been here, and it will continue until we all leave. And again, and with the leadership we have now, it'll continue after that. So rest assured, as I said when we opened this up this evening, if there's any questions, if there's any comments, call us. We are not afraid to answer questions. We're not afraid to talk to people. And social media is the biggest farce out there. If you want the facts, I've said this in the previous meeting, I'll say it again. You want the facts, Connie Sarno, myself, Laura Barca, Max Stock, Bob Kahulik, Roger Showalter, Dennis McCollum, Bo Kennedy. We will give you the facts. We're hiding nothing, and we never will. So, again, if that puts your mind at ease, it's what we do. It's we
Appreciate
and it's
all-
not, and again, it's not just this project. It's every project in the town of Warwick. Because this is only one project that we're dealing with at this point.
Let's just keep our town beautiful,
Listen,
our village thriving.
And honestly, I grew up here, I live in the village, and I think, as you can see by this board, it's what we do. This is what we do. It's that simple.
Ben, I want to address Sheila. She might have worked on me in the hospital.
Maybe.
Um,
Were you in
Wow.
ICU years ago?
I recognize her. 35 years ago, I got kicked out of Bergen County. My parents says, move. We're selling the house is sold. You're out of here. So I had to get married to my wife, and we moved to Warwick. Had to. No, I love her. She's the best. But 35 years, it's like a wrestling match. But anyway, I also want to say I raised my children here in this town. I care very, very, everyone on this board cares very, very much about this town, just like you do. I know the mayor's son out there. I love him. He's a good guy. But I do want to make one shout out to Mr. Jermaine, Katie, the trooper, Alan. These people who spoke, and I thank everyone for coming here tonight to speak out. But these guys who spoke, that's our future right there. I'm very proud of you guys, what you said tonight, and coming in and participating, as well as all of us. But they're the future. My time on the earth is limited. They got more time than I got, and I'm very proud of them. And I thank all you guys for coming.
Anyone else?
Thank you very
speak?
much.
Anyone else wish to speak on this evening?
Can I just ask one question?
Just come up here. Yeah.
Yes, Lori Germain. I'm in Barrett Circle. There's a marking on this map, wait, where am I? That shows this potential road.
Does not happen.
Oh, thank you, that's all we wanted to know.
Is that your son, by the way?
Yes.
Excellent job. Be proud of him. Not many people could get up and speak as eloquent.
About this at college, and he's been on it since then.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak from the public this evening? All right, there will be public comment period left open. You can email right into June 15th. Other than that, thank you all for coming, and have a good evening. The board will take a 5-minute recess. Bathroom break? All right.
5 minutes.
All right, we're going to reconvene. What we do need to do, we need a motion to close the public scoping session and to keep the written comment period open to June 15th. Can I have a so moved?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Now moving along, Kirk, get that door, please. Ladies?
Ladies.
Ladies, please. We're moving along to Ball Farm subdivision, Section 2. Application for final approval for Section 2 to consist of a proposed 14-lot cluster subdivision and special use permit for one affordable home. Situated on tax parcel, Section 53, Block 1, Lot 37.2, parcel located on the northern side of Ball Road, intersection of South Street Extension and Ball Road, 56 Ball Road, in the SL zone of the Town of Warwick. Conditional final approval for Section 1 to consist of 4 cluster lots was granted on 9/18/24. Preliminary approval for filing a 14-lot cluster subdivision in sections and special use permit for one affordable home was granted on 5/21/25. Conditional final approval for Section 1 to consist of a proposed 4-lot cluster subdivision was granted on 5/21/25. Representing the applicant.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Kirk Rothberg.
You're still here.
I'm still here.
You have a copy of the comments?
Yes.
Be nice if I had copy number, comment number 1, planning board to discuss seeker.
Okay, so one thing that, since the workshop, I had a question which is about the wetlands. So you may know that as of January, not as of January 1st, as of some point when the Albany decision, I forget it was versus who, it was Albany Supreme Court, overturned the state wetland changes. All of the special wetland jurisdiction program for urban areas got kicked out, but my understanding is still any wetland over 12.4 acres, even if it's unmapped, still needs to go through the parcel jurisdiction process. That you have to, if you have more than a 12.4 acre, I know you only have 10, but I think it continues on outside the property.
Sure, you're talking about Ball Farm, or you're talking about Liberty Fields?
Oh, am I on the wrong one?
You're on the wrong one.
Yeah, you're on Liberty.
I'm sorry.
We're on Ball Farm, Max.
Oh, I'm sorry. For Ball Farm, this application received a negative declaration.
Thank
by
you,
the
Max.
board.
I was like, where are we going? John's face down there was like, what? Yeah.
Sorry.
Whatever Max said, throw it out. Ryan, you retain it.
That's that one,
I
not
got
that
this
one.
one open. See, Max?
Okay.
This is
All
where
right.
we are.
You flipped too many pages.
Yes.
So we have our long-awaited Department of Health approval. The last time
Which is what we were waiting on.
That's what we were waiting on. The board last time agreed to waive the final public hearing,
Yes.
so we're hoping the board will grant conditional final approval tonight.
So we do have comments here for the record. Anything, Lord, you'd like to discuss?
I have nothing to discuss.
Any other professionals? Bob, Max? You want Ball Farm, Max. Board members?
So the board knows too, we have some town business that's
We
in the works.
We discussed that at the work session. We're
Yep.
fine with that as a condition. So if the board would care to waive the final public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. I have a motion on conditional final approval with comments 5 through
31.
31 as revised. Someone care to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for conditional final approval for Section 2 to consist of a proposed 14-lot cluster subdivision and special use permit for one affordable home situated on tax parcel Section 53, Block 1, Lot 37.2. Parcel located on the northern side of Ball Road, intersection of South Street Extension and Ball Road, 56 Ball Road, in the SL zone of the Town of Warwick. Conditional final approval for Section 1 to consist of 4 cluster lots was granted on 9/18/24. Preliminary approval for filing 14 lots cluster subdivision sections, special use permit for one affordable home was granted on 5/21/25. and conditional final approval for section 1 to consist of a proposed 4-lot cluster subdivision was granted on 5/21/25, with comments 5 through 31 as revised.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Have a good, well, you're still here. Have a good evening, John. All right, we just completed ball, Max, so, all right, we're gonna go to.
Sorry for the heart attack, sir.
That's all right, John, we're gonna start all over. All right, Liberty Fields Farm subdivision, application for amended sketch plat review of a proposed 24-lot cluster subdivision plus special use permit for 2 affordable homes, situated on tax parcel. Section block and lot 4218, parcel located on the western side of Sanfordville Road across from Eagles Watch Road and County Highway 1, 72 Sanfordville Road and 119 County Route 1, and located on approximately 121 plus or minus acres in the RU zone of the Town of Warwick. Representing the applicant. Eric, you have a copy of the comments? Comment number 1, planning board. Comment number 1, planning board to discuss seeker.
Okay, so.
All right.
I think my comment, Kurt, is that I think we need to submit for DEC JD on this one.
Okay.
All right.
No, they were even still doing it.
I think they are. Only for mapped wetlands and unmapped wetlands over either 12.4 or 8 point something. I forget what the number is, but it's definitely, this wetland is over that.
Number historically was the 12.
Right, yeah, and I think I was trying to, everybody's kind of fuzzy on it. It's at least the 12.4 which you hit. It might even be the 8 number. I'll try and get to the bottom of it. But this is a type 1 action under seeker, initial plan approval of a realty subdivision. We have prepared a resolution for the board to declare lead agency and commence coordinated review with the Orange County Department of Health, Orange County Department of Public Works, and New York State DEC.
Someone care to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Last page.
Last page, okay. I'm sorry.
That's the note.
There we go. I'd like to propose a resolution establishing lead agency for a type 1 action. Name of the project is Liberty Fields Farm Major Subdivision. Whereas the Town of Warwick Planning Board is in receipt of an application for cluster subdivision and special use permit approval of a 121-acre lot identified as Town of Warwick Tax Lot Section 42, Block 1, Lot 8, located on the west side of Sanfordville Road, north and south of County Route 1A. Whereas a full environmental assessment form, FEAF, Part 1, was submitted by the project sponsor dated May 12, 2026. And whereas the planning board has determined the proposed project includes the, quote, initial approval of a realty subdivision, close quote, and therefore qualifies as a type 1 action pursuant to 10 NYCRR 97.14 and 6 NYCRR 617.4. And whereas the planning board has identified the following potentially involved agencies for this project: New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, Orange County Department of Health, Orange County Department of Public Works. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby classifies the project as type 1 and declares itself lead agency for the coordinated seeker review of the project. And be it further resolved that the planning board secretary is hereby directed to distribute the attached lead agency notice, a copy of the FEAF Part 1, and a copy of the application to all involved agencies.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Kurt, discuss the project.
I'll keep it brief. Do you need the microphone?
Yeah.
No problem. Liberty Fields is a proposed cluster subdivision of the former Bollenbach Farm, 120 acres on both sides of County Route 1 and Sanfordville Road. We have a yield plan that was prepared based on the underlying zoning of 4 acres. We did not take any density bonuses. We did not take the one lot you can get based on the old zoning if you're in the APO district, so it's truly a by right plan. 26 lots on that plan. You'll remember at the workshop, we talked about the affordable housing need, 2 affordable houses required. So that would give us a 26 by yield, 2 more by affordable, 28 total. Brian doesn't, the applicant doesn't want to revise this layout. We're quite comfortable with it and the size of the lots and the open space we're preserving. So Brian's decided he's gonna go with 26 lots total, so it'll be 24 market rate plus the 2 affordable. You know, we're trying to keep the visual vista from County Route 1 open. This is the ridge here. We have nothing proposed on it. Shading areas are all steep slopes. Existing dwelling right here. The Kwanzaa hut, everybody knows, is right here. Our road is basically going through it. Brian plans to move this house down to where the Bollenbach homestead was. We have to do a site visit and start the
Glad you
secret
said
process.
that, because that's what we're going to discuss now. Laura, any of these comments? I know this is the initial thing. I think we need to do a site visit before we even get into the comments. So 3 through 54 for the record, unless you have anything you'd like to discuss at this point. We can set a
No, I
site.
do not.
Thank you. We could set a site visit this evening, or we could do it at the next work session. What's the board's pleasure?
And we said it this evening for just prior to the next
Okay.
work session.
When is our next work session?
Well, right now,
Mhm.
we don't have the next one.
Mhm.
July 6th.
July 6th. Okay, and that's for which meeting?
For July 15th.
I think vacations are gonna play a role into this. All right, so we'll do it, what's the one after that?
Well,
What's the one after that?
July 27th,
That's the work session for what meeting?
August 5th. Okay, why don't we, okay, listen.
Most
Why
people are
don't
gonna
you
be on
guys-
vacation the week before.
Yeah, all right.
A lot of
What about
that.
this? What about June 8th? There's no workshop that's gonna, because there's nothing. Can we do June 8th?
When's June 8th?
Monday?
Monday?
Turn your mic on. Yeah, let's,
Or June 17th?
if we could do June 8th, Monday night, if anybody don't mind doing that, just for the site visit. Because I think we're gonna roll into a lot of vacations coming up, and I don't wanna schedule it and not. So if we could do June 8th at 6, 5, 6?
I won't be here, Ben, but I can,
Okay,
I
yeah.
could go see it.
All right, what time you wanna do it? Wanna do 5?
I think so.
All right, then it's gonna be June 8th at 5 PM.
I have a long drive.
I know.
How about 6 o'clock?
How about 5?
Can we do 6? What?
5, let's just do it at 5 and be done. All right, so we'll set that. The comments are for the record. We'll see you then. Good idea.
Yeah, we're gonna circulate lead agency.
Yeah, we're doing that
Connie
now.
already told me what she needs. Yeah, we're good.
Good, okay, have a good evening.
Yes.
Where does everybody want to meet?
We'll worry about that then. We'll pull in there, there's no problem.
Kirk, you let me know where everybody can park, okay?
So it's up to the, everybody's seen.
We know where it is. We'll find it.
We could probably meet up by the house here where the road's gonna go.
We'll find it.
Is that empty?
The house? Is it empty?
Is that where you want us to park, up there by that house? Off of Sanfordville? All right, we'll park there. All right, 40 Sanfordville, perfect. All right, we'll see you Monday night.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Perfect. Other consideration, planning board minutes of 5/20/26 for planning board approval. Do I have a so move?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Planning board to discuss canceling the 6/8/26 work session and the 6/17 planning board meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Correspondence. We have numerous correspondence this evening for Blaine Town Square. They will be provided to us. We have them. We all have them. We'll go through them with our professionals and see what needs to get into the scoping document, and there will be more forthcoming to the 15th. Privilege of the floor for agenda items. Anyone wishing to address the board on any agenda item this evening?
I just had something back, I don't know, it's not hard, I know.
Come up to the
Come on,
microphone.
It's whatever's on the agenda.
Okay, I just had something to say about Liberty Fields. I know it's not part of public scoping at this
No,
point.
it's not. It's, but you could make a comment.
Okay. I was just going to mention that the old Ballenbach homestead is an old one-room schoolhouse and may constitute a Class 2 historic structure.
Brian, do you want to comment on that?
Trying to preserve that old house.
Okay.
The issue right now is all the sills are rotted out of it.
There's a tree growing up the side of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I restore old houses. If I can save that structure, I will save it.
Okay. I'm just here for advocacy.
State your name again, so-
Alan Held.
It was actually the schoolhouse was moved from the high school to there.
Yes, it used to be at like 84 Sanfordville or something like that.
So if I can save it, I'll save it.
Okay.
If it can't stay in that location, lift it up. The issue with it, all the sills are out. All buildings, oak sills, all the beams are tied into it, so that's my issue.
It crumbles to dust, it crumbles to dust. Is that true or something?
I hope not.
Hey, Brian,
We don't judge.
come over here. I just want to get what you said on the record, because over there we're not going to hear it. So if you can come to the mic, please. Thank you.
So the question was about the schoolhouse. Schoolhouse 18, which was moved from location at Sanfordville over to that in around 1952. Trying to preserve that house. If I can, I have to open up more of the walls inside, but the sills are rotted out right now, so the floor is caved in. Not sure if it's viable, but I will find out once I open up more of the walls on it and see if there's other beams underneath there. It's not in the best shape right now, but we'll see if I can save it.
Keep us posted as you go forward.
Yes, thank you.
We'll see you on the 8th. All right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
For a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you all.